welcome back. SuicideFantasyFootball.com 2012 from the War Room, telling you the sleepers you should consider in fantasy football in 2012. Jim, give us your sleepers first.
My first sleeper is somebody who has a name, so I can't... For me, a sleeper is somebody kind of comes out of nowhere. Brandon Lloyd is not coming out of nowhere, but he's coming off the scrap heap. He really fell off the face of the earth. He got traded last year to the Rams. He's back with Josh McDaniel. He's got Tom Brady throwing him the ball. Wes Welker's not happy. Ocho Cinco's gone. Randy Moss is just a memory in New England. He's going to put up huge numbers.
Now, Jim, one question I have for you, because I love him being back with Josh McDaniels, but wasn't he with Josh McDaniels in St. Louis, too?
He did okay last year. He didn't do great. They had a horrible offensive line. They had a horrible game plan. He got thrown into it. But if you look at his game-by-game numbers...
up and down.
Yeah, Bradford was hurt a little bit,
yeah.
and he put up decent numbers.
I do get that St. Louis offense and New England's offense is apples and oranges.
It's not Tom Brady. And also, they didn't have Gronk and Aaron Hernandez running out there.
I love your Brandon Lloyd pick. That was just the other side of the fence talking.
Number 2, Eric Decker. He's got the Peyton Manning factor. They've been already seen walking around, going to games, hanging out.
Hands in the back of each other's pockets.
Maybe. But that's what Peyton Manning likes. He likes camaraderie. He likes to feel like a team. He wants commitment. And he's the guy who builds everything on trust. He wants to know when he releases the ball, you're going to be there to catch it. He loved Decker. He wanted them to take Decker in Indianapolis last year. They didn't grab him. I think he's going to be a huge sleeper. Number 3, Titus Young. I know they got Nate Burleson in Detroit. I know that, but Nate Burleson's been the guy who's going to be the guy for Seattle and Minnesota and everywhere else. They've been looking for a complement to Megatron. Titus Young is that guy. Matt Stafford is going to be elite this year. He's going to come up and be a solid number 2 flex receiver in your fantasy football league. Number 4, I got Eddie Royal. I love Eddie Royal. He's going to play with Phillip Rivers. Even though I think Phillip Rivers has a bad year this year, I don't think Malcolm Floyd's going to be a breakout this year. Meacham's always an injury question, so you can't count on him. I think Eddie Royal gets back to that fly pattern, 70-yard touchdown type thing he did 3 years ago in Denver in his rookie season. And number 5 is a name everybody knows, Randy Moss. People are still ranking him as the 40th, 35th wide receiver. No way. I'm not a huge Alex Smith fan, but what I'm hearing at camp is he is back to 26-year-old Randy Moss. Fast as ever, catching everything that gets thrown to him, and there's just something about a guy who wants to prove everybody wrong that makes me want to pick him as a sleeper.
Crazy sideline catches Moss is making, and then also I hear he's abusing cornerbacks that were decent cornerbacks.
Oh, I thought you were talking about security guards.
No, not security.
Okay.
So I'm making Randy Moss tied with Reggie Wayne for my number 1 sleeper. So I'm going to call him 1 and 2, making Randy Moss 1, just because we were talking about him. But I hear Jim, he's back to his years of being 25 again. It happened when he sucked in Oakland and then killed it in New England. Now he sucked again, and he's going to come back and kill it. He's Randy Moss. He's going in the Hall of Fame after he comes back and does it again. Number 2, Reggie Wayne. Luck is going to throw the ball a ton. I like Collie a little bit too, but I think Reggie Wayne is going to be the guy there, and you can get him late. Number 30, Reggie Wayne was a top 5 guy a couple of years ago. Yeah, Peyton was throwing him the ball, and now it's Luck, but Luck is going to be throwing a ton. I'm going to go with my 3rd guy, Sidney Rice. I think Sidney Rice is going to be the number 1 guy in Seattle. I agree with Jim that Matt Flynn is going to be a guy that puts up good numbers, and I think Sidney Rice is going to get back to the guy that they took him from Minnesota to be. Number 4 is going to be a combination guy. It depends on whether you're in a PPR or a non-PPR league. If it's a PPR league, it's Danny Amendola. He's back. He had an arm problem last year. He's going to be a starter for the Rams. Bradford is going to come back and have a way better year, and he is going to put up Wes Welker Jr. type numbers.
Mini Wes Welker?
Mini Wes Welker. Now, if it's not a PPR league, I'm liking Brian Quick. Same offense, but he's the guy that's going to go for some deep, long touchdowns. His name's Quick. He's fast. Sam Bradford's going to love him. He's going to be a flyer. I think he could be a consistent guy in your starting lineup and will be the other side of Amendola. It's not going to be Gibson. It's not going to be the other guy that they liked. The tall guy, Dontario. It's not going to be Dontario. It's going to be it's going to be Brian Quick. And then number 5, I'm with Jim, Eddie Royal. He's going to be Phillip Rivers' number 1 guy. He's going to take, in my mind, the Vincent Jackson role away. And
He's going to sit on the bench with an ice pack on his knee?
No, and he's not going to cause problems either. But for Phillip Rivers, he's going to be the replacement for Vincent Jackson. It's not going to be Vincent Brown. It's not going to be Malcolm Floyd, even though he's tall. Antonio Gates, I think, is having a comeback year. If he stays healthy, he could be a beast. But I think the receivers, it's Eddie Royal's job to lose as the number 1 guy. So that's our top 5 sleepers at the wide receiver position. Eric at SuicideFantasySports.com, Jim at SuicideFantasySports.com. Tell us what you think. Or just look at our videos down below, reply to them, and subscribe. We'll come back to you every week and tell you what you need to know before you make a move in fantasy football. Check us out on Facebook at Suicide Fantasy Football, Twitter, SFF Insider, and then Monday nights, 8 to 9 o'clock, Blog Talk Radio, Fantasy Football Overload. We'll tell you everything you need to know, and you only need to go to one place to find it out. Check out SuicideFantasyFootball.com too. That's what we're all about, and we revolutionize the way you'll play fantasy football. Whether you're an expert or a beginner, you'll see why we invented the new best way to play fantasy.
New best.
New best. Best new.